So today we're cooking up a delicious 3-bone prime rib on the rotisserie. Now I'm still a noob when it comes to the rotisserie, but one thing I'm learning is that it's very easy to overshoot the temperatures when you don't have a leave-on wireless thermometer. So I might be looking to purchase one. So I might have slightly overcooked this, but no worries, the flavor profile on this was fantastic. Now would have I loved that perfect medium rare? Absolutely. But as a backyard cook, you have to realize that not all cooks are going to be perfect. And you know what? I'm completely okay with that. So let me show you how I cook this prime rib and show any of the mistakes along the way. So let's start cooking. I got this 3-bone prime rib that I got from Wild Fork. First things first, I'm going to remove the excess fat. My goal is to get more seasoning on the meat. I'm also going to remove the silver skin. And this is so the meat gets seasoned nicely, especially because I'm doing a dry brine. Don't let the fancy term dry brine confuse you. It basically means salting the meat a day prior and then putting it in the fridge overnight. This will allow the salt to deeply penetrate the meat and you'll get some good delicious bites. Now how much salt? I got a little technical on this one and used 1% of salt to the total weight of the meat. The prime rib weighed around 3,382 grams and 1% of that is 33 grams. So let me pour 33 grams of salt. Now this prime rib will go in the fridge and sit there overnight, and the next day it'll be dry brined beautifully. Please note that dark red color, which is very common after a dry brine. The other thing you'll notice is the meat is all loose, and this was just gonna fall apart on the rotisserie. I'll need to tie it all down. Tying it down will not only keep it all together, it would also get it into an even shape for even more even cooking. I'm gonna be using some butcher's twine, but I'm not gonna go all fancy with this at all. Just get 3 strings and tie it as close as you can. Then cut up the loose ends so it doesn't look too amateurish. Now that's all tied up and kind of neat, the dry brine has the side effect of drying out the meat, so any seasoning is not going to stick on it as good. So I'm giving it a little Worcestershire sauce bath. And then I'm hitting it all sides with this herbal combination. It's equal parts thyme and rosemary and just a little bit of oregano. I actually dried these herbs myself and ground them in my spice grinder. Now let's give it a light dusting. I really wouldn't go too heavy with it. Next, let's drop in that Drunkenchef habanero SPG. I'm hoping the habanero will give it a nice pop. The rub is not super spicy, otherwise I'd be adding a lot more than this. I'm only gonna go light because this rub contains salt and this prime rib has been dry brined. I really don't want to push it too much to the salty side. I'm usually a big fan of Montreal steak seasoning on my prime rib, and since I missed a chunky rub on it, I decided to drop in some as well. And this kind of was a mishap on my part and caused the exterior to be a little too salty, so don't make the same mistake I did. Now if you're dry brining like I did and you want to top it with your favorite seasoning, a real small dusting is going to be enough. Don't layer in another rub like I did. But look at that beautiful texture. It's going to be packed with awesomeness. Now since I'm cooking with the rotisserie, I'm going to go ahead and get that spit rod through the prime rib as evenly and centered as possible. Place in the first fork. And then place in your second. Try to center it as much as you can. Tighten it up nice and good once you've confirmed that it's the right spot. Now if you're a fan of rotisserie cooking, be sure to check out Jorge's channel. Hopefully that explains the hat I'm wearing. My head is the size of a big watermelon, so I'm gonna make any hat look extra small. But I just put this hat on to give a little shout out to Jorge over at 805 Barbecue Junkie. He has some great content, so be sure to check it out. I've lit 3/4 of a chimney, which I'm going to pour over 2 Weber baskets. I'm using lump here, and I'll definitely need to drop in a few chunks throughout the cook to keep this fire nice and hot. Next, I'm placing in a tray of onions, carrots, and celery with a little bit of chicken broth to collect drippings. These vegetables are going to taste amazing and it's going to make a nice side. Now that this grill is up to temperature, I'm going to put the prime rib on the rotisserie and let it spin. Spin, spin, spin. The great thing about the rotisserie cooking is you're just going to let it do its thing. Now if you have a wireless thermometer and you're all fancy, put it on so you don't accidentally overcook it. I don't have one, so I'll just keep an eye on it and manually check for temperature. And as a last minute choice, I'm gonna melt some unsalted butter, add some of those fresh herbs I grounded, and drop in 2 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna baste my prime rib when this is cooking. This step is not necessary, but if you do this, make sure it's unsalted butter. The last thing we want is more salt. I'm also gonna drop in a few chunks of charcoal to keep the fire going for the entire cook. The grill's running around 325. When you get closer to your desired doneness, you'll want to check it frequently. And that's pretty much it. Keep basting, keep checking the charcoal, keep admiring the spinning. Oh, that beautiful spin. And get yourself a drink while it finishes. Now, if you want to hit a medium rare, I would remove when the deepest part of the prime rib is hitting about 125. The rest will land at around 130, which is going to be the perfect medium rare. Okay, so I slightly overcooked it. I pulled about 130-ish. I probably should have pulled at 120, 125. One thing you have to realize is the importance of the carryover heat, especially on a big piece of meat like this. I think if I invest in a wireless thermometer, I would have hit that medium rare perfectly. But again, with the rotisserie, you could get away with it. Now here's the prime rib all rested up and ready to be eaten. Let's remove the rotisserie forks and spit rod. I'm gonna start off by slicing off the bones. Don't throw this away, this got some delicious meat. Slice off the edge because you know this tasty crust is gonna be absolutely delicious. And next, let's slice right in the middle for your money shot. I actually overshot the temperatures by just a bit, and I had more of a medium temperature. But as I mentioned at the top of the video, not all cooks will be perfect, and that's okay. Let's give it a taste. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Cut it thin, look at this. Fantastic bite. That was outstanding. The best prime rib I've ever had. So last year when I first got rotisserie, I cooked a turkey on it, and I swear I'm never gonna cook a turkey any other way. The rotisserie is the way to go. I'm gonna say the same thing about the prime rib. Now, if you have a rotisserie and you've never cooked a prime rib on it, cook it. Even though this is medium, it's still very delicious. The great thing about cooking on the rotisserie is you can overshoot the temperature a little bit and still be good. I'm still a newbie when it comes to rotisserie cooking on the rubber kettle, but if you're looking for more cooks on the rotisserie, be sure to check out the following playlist. I'll see you on the next one.